I'm going to share with you my journey of how I became unapologetically excellent. And I want you to keep in mind, I can, I will, I did. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal greater benefit. You guys are going to gain so much today. And I hope from my story and some of the key elements and examples that I give you, you'll take away a lot. The seed of potential. Yeah, that's me. Each and every one of you has the seed of potential to do great, amazing things. It's a matter of, do you believe it or not? Because society is going to try and put you in a box. And it's a matter of getting out of that box and breaking the barriers, moving beyond what you see in front of you. In my environment, York, Pennsylvania, my neighborhood was filled with the pimps, the prostitutes, the drug dealers, the drug users. I had somewhat of a dysfunctional home. And many would think, well, with that environment, how did you get so far? And it's that seed. Everyone has that seed of potential. And I'm going to explain that if I didn't succeed at something, it wasn't going to be for a lack of. When I was in high school, my environment, like I said, wasn't that great. But I knew that if I stayed, then I would become those negative statistics that were around me. When Montel Williams, the talk show host, had came to visit my high school, I was a freshman, and he was on stage, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Mountain, move out of my way." And I'm like, what? Because I was slumped down in my seat. We were in the auditorium. Because I'm like, what is this old guy? What can he tell us? Mountain, move out of my way. But I sat up. And I'm like, there's something to what he's saying. He's telling me that no matter what I see in front of me at that moment, I can push it, I can go around it, I can go underneath it, I can go over it. But I don't let it stop me. I understood that I didn't have to settle. By 10th grade, I knew I wanted to go into the Navy. I had family and friends that were in the service. I knew that I couldn't afford college like my other peers, my other classmates. But I knew that if I didn't leave that environment, again, I was going to become a negative statistic. My first 4 years in the Navy, so in 1991, I raised my hand, joined the Navy, went off to Orlando, Florida for boot camp. My first 4 years, I was an ocean system technical analyst. And basically, I detected, localized, and tracked enemy ships and submarines. In the 90s, that's when the Cold War with Russia and Japan was coming to an end. And so it was my job to find and track those enemy ships and submarines, because we got to keep America safe. After that, I decided to be a naval air crewman, and that's me with my survival suit on, my helmet. So you guys ever watched Top Gun? Or ever heard of it with Tom Cruise? My goodness, I'm really dating myself. Okay, well I think I look like Tom Cruise. I didn't want to be Goose, because Goose died. That's me. Those are the 3 airplanes that I flew inside. I was an in-flight technician. And I also was an optical operator. But as a naval air crewman, it was extensive training in Pensacola, Florida. A lot of swimming, a lot of running. There was 3-mile beach runs. I was able to swim a mile in 68 minutes. I learned how to jump out of airplanes properly so I didn't injure myself. I knew how to survive on the land, get water from putting a bag around the tree leaves, and even trapping animals. As a naval air crewman, it is our job. We have a mission in the airplane, but if our airplane ever goes down in water or behind the enemy lines, we gotta know how to survive. And I even knew, they even taught us how to code tap, say if I was captured, how to code tap to the next prisoner next to me, and even if someone was doing a propaganda video, how to signal that I was okay, or my leg was injured, or something like that. Or if my plane went down in water and the oil slick created a fire, I need to know how to go underneath that oil slick and get to safety. There was different strokes that we learned and had to use at certain times. It was very extensive. A naval air crewman is a step below your Navy SEALs. So I'm trying to paint the picture to you of what it's like to be a woman of color. And as you can see, this is just one of the crews. I'm the only woman and African American. And most times that was the case. When I went to Naval Air Crew School, and I was having trouble with a particular swimming evolution, I had the instructor tell me that as a black woman, my body type wouldn't allow me to swim like my Caucasian classmates. And I couldn't understand. What? See, it's the stereotypes. He was trying to put me in this small box. And you can't put Jennifer Foxworthy in a small box. Nobody can put you in a small box of stereotypes. And don't let yourself put yourself in those small boxes of stereotypes. I tried very hard. I worked at it. I asked questions. And I passed that evolution. And every evolution after that. When I graduated air crew school, and I walked on that field, strutting my stuff, head held high, looking at all those people who gave up on me, who didn't think that I was going to make it through. Because, to tell you the truth, there were other African American women who went through this training, but didn't make it through. I found out by a senior enlisted that I was the first in 10 years to graduate this school. Are you kidding me? The first in 10 years to graduate air crew school? So I realized the journey that I was about to embark on was going to be tough. But I didn't realize how tough it was. My first squadron that I reported to in the military is male-dominated, and then in your technical fields, it's Caucasian-dominated. So when I reported, my maiden name is Dowry, on paper, Jennifer Dowry. So they're expecting a white female, especially air crew, because that's an elite group. And I'm bubbly and smiling, hey, I'm ready to report. Oh, okay. The admin spaces, the admin office is upstairs. No, I'm one of y'all. I'm here to do work. I can fix things. So as my job as an in-flight technician, it was my job to fix the electronics in the airplane. Your navigational equipment, the antennas, the radios, the mission equipment, so that we can fulfill our mission instead of having to land. I found out that I was the first in that squadron, the first African-American naval air crewman in the enlisted ranks. Breaking barriers. I go to my next squadron, same thing, record scale. Walk into the shop, it's all white men. I'm reporting for duty. They try to point me elsewhere. No, I'm a naval air crewman. I went through the training. I can turn wrenches with the best of them. I know capacitors, resistors, all that technical stuff. From that squadron, I was the first African-American naval air crewman, period. I go to my next squadron. I'm the first female in-flight technician for that squadron. Now, I've told you several firsts, but you can imagine the adversity, the isolation, when people don't want you, they don't like change. But see, when I look at the sea of your beautiful faces, even when it was uncomfortable, and I wanted to give up, now I see why I didn't. Somebody had to be the first to pave the way for you. And I'm not trying to promote the military, but I'm sharing my journey. That many times it's uncomfortable, you're going to face challenges, but you got to rise to the occasion, because that's what makes you unapologetically excellent. This is a Maya Angelou, American poet, quote, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, and some humor, and some style." During those isolations as a naval air crewman, I flew combat missions in 3 different wars: the Kosovo War, the Afghanistan, and Iraq. I knew, being as an African-American woman in a plane filled with men, that if I went down behind enemy lines, and believe me, there were times that our plane was shot at with missiles, RPGs, because the Taliban, they hide in the nooks and crannies of the mountains, and they have these RPGs on their shoulders, and our planes are big and loud. Even at nighttime when we fly, they're going by sound, and all they have to do is they push their button, and the missile goes. There's many times to where our plane was anchoring and banking, trying to get to safety. The last 2 airplanes, we didn't have missiles. All we had were chaffs and flares. So you just push those buttons, and the missile, it's a heat-seeking missile that would go to those chaffs and flares, and that's how we stayed safe. But can you imagine when you're isolated, you're trying to break barriers, and you're the first, and you find yourself flying combat missions? And you know that if you're captured, you will be exploited and then killed. But I put my life on the line. I volunteered. This is what you do when you're unapologetically excellent. The unattainable became achievable. So while I was in the service, I started earning my associates. I also put in the hours to become a journeyman in an electronic field. So like Raytheon, Boeing, if I ever wanted to work on airplanes, instead of working at the bottom, this certification, I could start in the middle. I diversified my portfolio. That young girl that I showed you in the beginning that went into the service because I couldn't afford a college education, I'm now working on my 4th degree, my 2nd master's. So I have now an associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, and now I'm earning my MSW at Salisbury University. Achievable when you break out of those barriers. So the key elements needed to be unapologetically excellent. Potential, which we all have. A vision. Where are you going? It has to be further than what you see right now. And then the sweat equity. In order to achieve your purpose, you can't sit in your comfort zone. It's absolutely impossible. Impossible. You see your purpose and comfort zone is right here. You've got to step out of your comfort zone and keep walking. Go by faith, whatever it is you do, but make it work for you. You may have to rebuild. You may have to restructure. You may have to just sit and wait. But whatever you do, just keep going. And those negative thoughts, you turn them into positive thoughts. And that sweat equity, you know there's over 7 billion people in this world, and over 25% of them, well, everyone says they want to be a lawyer, a doctor, rapper, musician, actress, you name it. We all have some type of ambition. But out of all those 7 billion people, only 25% is willing to put in the sweat equity. And that sweat equity is that hard work. So I don't know about you, but I like pie. So when you break it down, you got a pie that 25%, they're the ones that are getting off of their butt and leaving the comfort zone and walking in their purpose. That's 75% of the pie left to eat. There's no need to be greedy, jealous, or envious, or anything. I'm unique. You're unique. We're beautiful. We're amazing. We have talents. I can't do what you do, and you can't do what I do. Or you can do it a little bit better, or there's a target audience that can relate to something that you say that I can't put out just the way you do. Put in that sweat equity. Get your piece of the pie. Be that 25%, not that 75% that just talks it, but don't walk it. So I know you're saying, okay, Miss Jennifer, that's great. You told us your journey. You told us, combat missions, your Navy career, your degrees, your accomplishments. And while I was in the Navy, I also became a certified alcohol and drug counselor. That was my last tour in the Navy. I did 21 years. So I went from military warfare to military welfare, treating our service members and their families, dealing with drugs and alcohol. Because we take that baggage from our civilian life and we bring it right into the military. So how do you become unapologetically excellent? I believe to be a great leader, you must possess 3 I's. Be innovative, be inspiring, with integrity. 3 I's. If you don't take anything else away, and I'll explain each one briefly. Innovative. That's what I explained to you in the beginning. I knew I had the seed of potential. I wanted to go to college but couldn't afford it. I figured out what was the next best thing. For me, that was going into the service. Innovative. As a great leader, you have to think on your feet. How do I get these people to follow me? Where am I going? How do I get there? The second step, inspiring. In my mind, if you're the only one in your group that's doing inspiring, you need to get new friends. Because who's going to push you? You're pushing everybody else. You're pouring into everyone else. Who's pouring into you? If you are the only one in your group that's doing the inspiring, you need to get new friends. Because iron sharpens iron. If you're around people who are mediocre and just ordinary and want to sit in their comfort zone, how can they push you? How can they cheer you on? If anything, it's going to be followed by jealousy and envy because you have a vision, you have the potential, you want to put in the sweat equity. How are they going to support you? You got to train your muscle to get your hustle. Hey, I'm a poet, I didn't know it. Woo woo. Integrity. Hey, y'all write that down. Tweet that. Hashtag, train your muscle, get your hustle. Woo woo. Tweet that. I know y'all got your phones. There's no reception in here. Do it, ladies. That's right, Jennifer Foxworthy. Give me credit. I love it. Last but not least, I want you to create a legacy that you can be proud of. Because that's why you're here today, to get poured into, to learn about HBCUs and the different topics that are set up here today. This is your time. Soak it up. Again, I want you to create the legacy that you can be proud of. Be the part. Your pants sagging down, that's a no-go. That's a no-go. Because you already have 2 strikes against you. You're a minority, and if you're a woman, you're definitely outside the wheel of empowerment. And then being a man. See, society has already painted you in a light. Again, how do you break out of those barriers? How do you not stand in those stereotypes? Create the legacy that you can be proud of. Again, you cannot walk in your purpose if you are sitting in your comfort zone. This is so amazing to me. I leave you with this. I know that children, young men and women, you like the dares. I double dog dare you. Well, I'm going to give you a dare. I dare you to make a positive impact in your school, in your home, your local community, your state, and so on. I dare you. I dare you to be unstoppable. Unstoppable means there's no limits. You're amazing. And I dare you to be unapologetically excellent. You're excellent. Unapologetically. If you would have told me that that young girl that I showed you would be a motivation, would have retired after 21 years, achieved all that I went through. I've been over 27 different countries. I've driven around the United States. I've been to 49 out of the 50 states. The only state that I haven't been to is North Dakota, and normally that's off the beaten path. I've been to Alaska, I've been to Hawaii, Greece, Crete, London, you name it, been there. But I do have Australia on my bucket list. I have been to Australia. I'm going to try and find one. It said he's in Sydney, Australia. I dare you to be unapologetically excellent. But if you would have told me that I would have achieved all this, I would have laughed at you. Because my environment said differently. Society said differently. So I want you to go to these different sections. Feel free, when you see me, ask any questions. I'm also an author. Again, I travel around the country as a motivational speaker. I have my own television show, Living Unshackled on Purpose. I have 2 businesses, a for-profit, that young girl living in poverty, I did not stay where they wanted me to. Thank you. I can, I will, I did.